My finger got stuck.
So I say, cut off their heads, we take them with us.
I say we just take a few pinkies and call it a day.
How's about we torch the trailer and get out of here?
In their town, there is no law to follow.
Partners in crime, right?
Only a code to live by.
To the 3 B's. Bikes, beer, and booty.
Pistolero.
I knew it would come to this.
You got that right.
Oh, hell.
The Gent.
You must be the gent.
What tipped you off? The outfit?
And Comanche.
Take us to the Sixers. Sure thing, man. Come on, no probleme.
But when an old enemy
The Deuce and Billy Wings are back with a vengeance.
rides off with their score,
You know anything about a safe deposit box?
Can we get down to business?
they'll fight back
We got some serious hell fighting to do with Billy Wings.
at full throttle.
In or out?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm in.
This summer,
The key.
And that was a clip of Hell Ride starring Michael Madsen as well as the late Dennis Hopper. And of course, Michael Madsen being honored at the Albuquerque Film Festival. And a screening of that will actually be tonight at the Chemo. And we're so happy to have Giancarlo Esposito here this morning, who's also being honored at the Albuquerque Film Festival this year.
What a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And of course, if he looks familiar, he should. He's the charismatic, sadistic killer Gus Fring on Breaking Bad. So,
Yes.
and I have so many questions I want to ask you about Breaking Bad. Huge fan, but before we get to that, we want to talk about Film for Change.
Behind, the Film for Change, which is the catalyst of the Albuquerque Film Festival, Film for Change was created by Rich Henrich to transform community through the power of story. Why do you think stories are so important?
Oh, I think people are looking for connection. And I'm so honored to be here with the Albuquerque Film Festival in this 3rd year of the festival to be able to support returning to story. I think we are looking for some human stories that allow us to see part of ourselves in that story and see how to be able to not only connect with each other but better ourselves through entertainment. You know, we're an entertainment society.
Right.
And so much of the time we are so affected by many of the Hollywood larger films that sometimes are gratuitous and sometimes don't really get into the meat of how our lives are today. And in today's time and tide, with the economy and with people really trying to move forward, I think Film for Change is something that we can really latch onto and realize that entertainment can be uplifting and fun. And have some spiritual basis too.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell us a little bit about Film for Change? You're on the advisory board.
I am. Rich Henrich had this wonderful brainstorm 3 or 4 years ago, honored a film that I did called Gospel Hill, which is a film I directed, which was about the civil rights movement, and it was about healing. It was about really letting go of all of the stuff that we hold on to that happened to African American people and this country, and to be able to move forward. And I was so honored to be able to be presented with that Film for Change award. You know, film affects so many people. Not only you and I, who not only enjoy what we do, but folks, young people who might want to be in film, to have a larger presence, to be stars, to fulfill their dream. But it's about self-expression.
Absolutely.
And I believe that Film for Change has an incredible impact on folks, especially in communities like Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Now, Giancarlo, most of the films that are being showcased, they probably won't get all the attention they really deserve. How could, you as an artist really seek out and engage the general public to really bring more attention to these films?
Well, I think my presence being here, Michael Madsen's, Dean Stockwell, Rich for all of his great work with the community to be able to support film. For example, last night there was a film that John Sayles did called Amigo about Filipinos. We get a chance to learn about each other. We get a chance to learn about cultures we'd never be exposed to. And I think that's a very special thing that film and television has the ability to do. So for me, it's about educating people to look for something a little bit different, to not just turn the channels and just always be entertained, but what captures your imagination and your attention, and sometimes you'll stop and you'll go, wow, I didn't know that this culture had this kind of way of worshiping or this kind of way of dressing. I didn't know that I could go and watch them do their dance that is so special and indigenous to their culture. I think these are the kind of things that interest people today, and I think returning to story allows people an inside view of what they never be able to see before. You're welcome. You know, everyone is welcome, and I think that's what Film for Change is really supporting.
Oh, I love that. You know, I mean, it's so motivating too, and inspirational, I think. And
it's inclusive, and it can be extremely entertaining and exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, okay, let's get to Breaking Bad, because I have some questions for you.
Absolutely.
You, of course, play, would you call it an evil character? Because you kind of think of it as evil, but then you have this presence about you that's just calm. You seem like a family man. You seem like there may be some part of you that does kind of care. Can you give me some insight?
I sure can. You know, they're good guys and they're bad guys, and they're the guys who are in between, who are probably a little bit more scary than just being good or bad. I don't look at Gus Fring as being evil at all.
He's not evil.
No,
okay.
I think he is a guy who's a businessman. He's very cut and dried. His business happens to be meth. It happens to be illicit. But he is someone who is very particular in the way he goes about setting up his organization, and he has a high amount of integrity. Is that evil? I don't think so. I think what he does to protect his family is very, very important. So he's a guy who's hiding in plain sight, who is an upstanding member of the community, and who is very interested in cultivating human beings to be their best at what they do, no matter what that is.
Okay, well, I can see that. And then you're also very, you're spiritual in nature, not just your character, but you are. So how do you play a role? There's that one scene in the very first episode of the season that's going on right now where you slit the throat.
I love that. Box cutter.
Yeah, that one.
About as PG as we could make it, right?
Yeah, that was good.
So how do you, is it tough to play that? Was that tough to do?
It was very tough to imagine myself doing it. When I got the script up, my hands were shaking after I read it. I put it down for 3 days, and it was about me being able to do that without sort of staining and hurting my spirit. I also really admired Jeremiah, who was the actor who I was working with in that scene. I didn't want to see him leave the show. But I wanted to be able to make it, acting is play, although it's very serious in terms of what I do. I find that the way I'm able to enter into Gus Fring is to be calm and relaxed and do a lot of yoga breathing and drop my spirit to a place that matches Gus's intensity and focus. Again, he's a guy who wants to see the network that he has created succeed, and he wants everyone to succeed with him. But he's very specific. You have to do it my way.
Right, and that was something that you had to do, even though I think you could see in your eyes that there was a part of you that maybe didn't want it. And we're going to talk to you a whole lot more coming up in a little bit. Our conversation with Giancarlo Esposito is going to continue, but before that, take a look at this trailer from Michael Madsen's breakout film, Reservoir Dogs.
Face! Put the gun down!
Here are your names. Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink.
Why am I Mr. Pink?
Who cares what your name is?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. You're Mr. White. You have a cool-sounding name.
Let's go to work.
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right.
What happens if the manager won't give you the diamonds?
Cut off one of his fingers. The little one.
I'm so scared in case I fall off the chair. And I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs.
If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. I'm all over the place.
You're acting like a first-year thief. I'm acting like a professional.
And your family are coming, slap you on my back and say,
Choice he's been doing 10 years. He can have some stupid mother. Ain't no choice at all. Bam. Bam, 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 bam.
You're under arrest, sugar.
Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Tierney, and Michael Madsen. They're the Reservoir Dogs.
Hey, Joe, I'm gonna shoot this guy.
their home.
This is an opportunity for Julia, for Gospel Hill.
These people, they used to own these houses.
Sarah Malcolm, Rosie Griffith. Once a lot of black people in town find out who you're going around with, they won't be so friendly.
You don't need no ID. You don't need no.
Paul Malcolm bled to death in an open street. I need you to stop hiding behind that damn grief of yours and get on with life, because I'm sick and tired of waiting on you.
I woke up this morning with my mind, with my mind. Come on, church, help me. I woke up this morning with my mind.
When did you forget that you were better than this?
Where were you? Don't you lie to me!
I was raised in a community named after the Word of God. Named after the Word of God. Gospel Hill.
And that was the trailer for Gospel Hill, directed by and starring Giancarlo Esposito. You're so talented. You made your Broadway debut at age 8 alongside Shirley Jones in Maggie Flynn. And now you're an actor, you're a director. Is there any one person who's been a huge, the biggest influence on you?
You know, I pay so much attention to great directors. The film that was shown last night at the Albuquerque Film Festival was directed by John Sayles, and I worked with him as an extra on Brother from Another Planet. And I was always enamored with him because he was such a great writer and told such great stories, but they were always associated with or illuminating a problem politically or socially. And I think that the idea of being able to do that and affect people in a deep way has been my calling as a director. To take some subject matter and illuminate an issue, yet make it entertaining, to me is really wonderful. So John would be one of those folks. Robert Benton was another, and a great influence for me, and who a gentleman who became a friend later on in his life was Paul Newman. And he always made the right choices. And he was sort of the great, he combined being that phenomenal movie star with being someone who was so socially conscious. And knowing Paul, he read every newspaper every day. He was very political, and he voiced it in a very graceful way. And so if I could do that as a director in film, I would feel really fulfilled.
Well, I think you are. I mean, you're a huge influence yourself on so many people.
Oh, well, thank you. That's why I'm here in Albuquerque. I believe this community has a great opportunity right now. And if you're able to seize that opportunity in this moment, when film and entertainment is infusing dollars into the community, and to have people understand and support that would be really fantastic. I mean, I don't know if you guys know that Sony has moved their whole animation division here to Albuquerque. Arnold Schwarzenegger's coming to Santa Fe for 16 weeks to do a film. Avengers was just here. It's a way of really infusing the community with economic advancement.
And that's so good to hear, because then you just hear about all the bad economic times, and then the changes with, I know there's been some changes with the tax incentives and stuff like that when it comes to the film industry, but it's good to hear that things are still happening here.
They really are. It's this moment in time where things can really grow.
You know, Giancarlo, you were talking about the box cutter, and there's something I'm curious. How do you tap into your darker side? How do you have stuff, personal experiences that you pull from? And at the end of the day, when you go home, how do you turn it off, that stuff?
You know, it's interesting. I remember years ago doing a play where I played a Zoo Man in the Sign, where I played a young man who kills someone completely by accident and had to justify it in monologues to the audience. And it was a very dark play, and it took me a half hour to wind down. With Gus Fring, I'm able to jump in there and sort of drop my spirit. It's yoga. I do a lot of yoga. I try to be kind and graceful. The wonderful thing about Gus is that he has a very polite side of him, but yet a very darker, deeper side that is sort of held away from the audience so that the audience can be drawn into him. And so that's how I'm able to get attention as Gus. else. But I have to shake it off. There's no doubt. Earlier in the season this year, I was blessed. I had blessed to have 4 children, 4 girls between the ages of 7 and 15.
Do you let them watch the show?
No, I don't. But I let them come and visit the set early in the season because I knew by the end of the season I'd be doing some very nefarious, horrible things, and I didn't want them to see it. But I stay calm. Meditation and asking that I am able to understand in my being that what I'm doing is acting. That's what I'm doing, and that when I leave that set, let that guy go. You know, you can see that I have a different look now. I'm letting my hair grow. I don't want to shave. You know, I want to let Gus go away for a little while before I have to take him up again.
I'm sure you have to. It's got to be tough playing that type of character. Now, we did break breaking bad news, actually, this week when we announced that the upcoming season will be the 5th and final season. How do you feel about the series coming to an end?
Well, you know, I respect Vince Gilligan in making that decision. You know, all stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. And you want them to be equal in their strength and their power in what they deliver. And I think what happens in many television shows is they go too far.
I agree.
And then people start to lose audience and lose interest and don't do it as well. But you know what? We can still make some money on this and get some audience. I think it's really wise to be able to bookend this story. It's the story of Walter White and his family. It's the American story. And for it to have a strong ending would be really terrific and live on forever. So it's bittersweet.
It is. It's been so strong up to this point, and I do agree. I think that's great to wrap it up and keep that strength there. Now, you are speaking on a panel this Sunday. Can you tell us a little bit about what you'll be discussing?
Yeah, it's a Hollywood Insider panel with some very other wonderful folks who actually live in Hollywood. I don't. But I think it's going to be a panel that will really investigate how Hollywood movies are made and answer some questions as to what indie film is and how to blend both of those and the differences and answer people's questions and really get underneath about how film can really move through the community and affect people.
Oh, well, good stuff. And of course, we just had that information on the screen. And if you didn't get that, we'll have it on our website, casa.com. And of course, you can get a complete schedule of events for the festival at abqfilmfestival.com. And to purchase tickets, you can go to that website as well, or at the Chemo. And that goes from, of course, this past Wednesday through this Sunday.
And Michael Madsen will be signing copies of his 8th book of poetry, American Badass, on Saturday night, 8 o'clock at the Chemo. That's followed by a screening of Reservoir Dogs. He writes poetry. Who knew? Yeah,
he does write poetry. I want to hear some of that.
Literally.
Yeah, and you have some good anything in the future coming up? I'm sure you're going to be a busy guy.
I do. I'm working on raising funding. Send those dollars in for my next film called This Is Your Death. It's an unflinching look at reality television.
Well, great. We cannot wait to find out more information on that and take a look at that. And yeah, bring the funding in. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.